Hello Hanji Kid down, what's up people? Back with another video, and today we're previewing Ipswich Town versus Derby County. Before we get into anything, you already know what I'm going to say. If you're brand new here, subscribe to the channel. We're trying to grow and get to as many fans as possible. We have now just hit 1,300 subscribers, so big up all you legends. And of course, smash the like button. We want to say 50 likes as a target. And let me know your thoughts in the comments if you're a Derby fan or Ipswich fan. All that stuff helps with the YouTube voodoo, all the algorithms, and gets this content to more and more people. But yeah, man, let's get to it then. So Town host Derby on Saturday. The first time we're playing them since that League One promotion season. We did do the double over them in that season. Home game, we beat them 1-0 at home. It was a Wesburn strike. Agent McGoldrick gave away a penalty for us. And then I think it was Jackson that missed it, didn't he? He missed the penalty, but we won 1-0. And in the return fixture, man, that memory at full time lives with me, man. That was when I knew we were on our way. We won 2-0. I think Hursty got a goal, really good goal. That was, did Burns score that game as well? Can't remember who scored the other goal. We won 2-0, and I remember just seeing the players collapse on the pitch after. They left everything out on that pitch that day. And we were singing "We're Going Up" because that's when we knew in that stadium, and town fans, every town fan knew that, you know what, we're on our way, man. But yeah, 2-0, we got promoted. They stayed in League One for a bit. They had obviously been in the Championship for a few seasons, so they got out of there. They're in the Championship. They did have financial issues, so when they got relegated, I think they got a points deduction. Wayne Rooney was their manager. A certain George Edmondson was in their defence as well. But I think if it wasn't for the points deduction, they would have stayed up. And I think it was with them in Sheffield Wednesday, I want to say. Might have even been like a goal difference thing, or maybe a single point. I can't remember, but it was close. I know it was on the deadline day, not deadline day, the final day. Derby fans, if you're watching, let me know in the comments. But yeah, they went down. They've obviously been taken over. I think it's like a consortium, a local businessman's kind of heading that up, which is always good to see. You don't want to see clubs go out. You know, look at obviously what happened to Bury, and obviously Morecambe. Big up Punjab Warriors and Ashbir Singh. So obviously Derby's still in existence. They're going, and they made some changes. Obviously they brought in John Eustace, who was actually the manager doing well before Tom Brady and Cole sacked him. He's doing well at Birmingham. And then they bought, well, he then went to Blackburn, I think, last season for a bit, stabilised them, and now he's come to Derby. They've got a good squad. They've got a good set of players. You know, there's some good players in that lineup. If we just look at, we're going to have to mention him, aren't we? The former scummer, Mr. Carlton Morris. You know, he's got, what, 3 goals this season. He's got more goals than we've scored this as a team. So he's their top goal scorer at the moment. I remember seeing him when we played Luton at Colu in a pre-season friendly, and he scored a penalty against us. So he can find the net against us, as we unfortunately know and have seen over the years. Obviously, Caden Jackson, cult hero. You know, we love him. You know, one of my favourite town players. Never really worked out for him as a out and out striker, as a lone striker. Always worked well as a pair. And from what I can see, it looks like that's what Eustace has done with this formation. He's kind of got Jackson and Carl Morris, which isn't a bad lineup really, up top anyway. But you know, we know what he offers. He's got pace. He's got a good delivery as well. He's quite an intelligent footballer. So he's obviously going to probably cause us problems. Another familiar face, Mr. Callum Elder. We obviously had him. I think he's got a goal and an assist at the moment. So, you know, we need to look out for him on that left. So, Lewis Travis. We remember Lewis Travis. I remember that Sunderland at home game where Caden Jackson scored actually in that same game. And he didn't get too many opportunities, but when he come in, he did well. And then David Oza. I think it's Oza how you pronounce it. The young lad. I think he's a CDM. He's a central midfielder. He's on loan from Palace. He's been one of those players that people have been talking about for a while. So I think they had him on loan last season, and they've taken him again on loan. So he's got familiar surroundings, but he looks like a player that, again, if our midfield ain't up for it, he could break things down, and we got to think about that front four. In terms of Town 11, then how I think we're going to line up and our predicted 11. So this is what I've gone for. As you can see, similar. Well, it's exactly what I wanted last week, really. So this is what I think is the strongest 11. Obviously, the only change I've put Mkhitaryan rather than Ogbene. I think Ogbene would be a good option off the bench. I think we don't want to rush him back and get him injured because he looks like a very, very good player. And if we're going to achieve anything this season, he's someone that needs to stay fit. So I'd have him off the bench. But yeah, and then for me that's the strongest 11. Maybe like I said, if once Ogbene's up and running, you might argue Ogbene on that right wing. It does mean that obviously we got a bit of depth on the bench, so we can bring a few players off and bring a few players off and make some changes. I'd like to see Chaplin more. I'd like to see him play more. I think last week it didn't really go as planned for him, but I think at home we seem to be better. Like in the championship season before, we were good. So it seems to be a bit of a kind of home atmosphere is where these players kind of shine, if you like, or thrive. Just think about that Southampton performance, the first sort of 10-15 minutes, and then the first 20 minutes of the second half. I thought we were really, really good. So the man in the middle is Mr. Lee Doherty. Doherty or Doherty? I think I can't pronounce how you pronounce it. He's done 166 games, 93 championship games, 29 League One games, and 37 League Two games. Oh, and 7 League Cup games. Bristol City is the club he's refed most with about 12. I think it was 12 games he's refed. Town, he's refed us 3 times. There's been 1 win, 2 draws. We never lost with him refing. Last game he refed was that Sheffield Wednesday home game in that promotion season where we beat Danny Rowe's team 6-0. That was a great team, man. That was a great game, man. Amari was quality that day. But yeah, beat them. For Derby, he's reffed them 4 times. There's been 2 wins and 2 losses. They've never drawn. Last time was a 2-1 win over Chesterfield. Last season, I think it was in the Carabao Cup. So I don't think there's been much controversy. He's clearly a ref with a lot of championship experience. I'm hoping there's not a lot of controversy, and I'm hoping the theme of not reffing a losing game for Town carries on. So in terms of score predictions, I'll put the predictions up there. As you can see, we've all gone for a win. Quite a lot of us gone for the same result as well. I'm judging it based on what I saw at home at Southampton, because what we saw at Preston was crap, and McKenna said it himself. So hopefully, they've had a long, hard look at themselves, because look, some of these jokers that thought they were getting Premier League moves or whatever, I don't think it's going to happen. Knuckle down, prove your worth, and then, head off in Jan or in the summer or whatever, right? But let's see what happens. Like I said, I'm predicting a 2-1 Town win, and yeah, man, that's what we can really hope for. So before we check out on that, we've got to talk about transfers. Now. We've always said we're the pride of East Anglia. And when a team's one of their best players says, I can't sign that contract with you, man. I can't stay here in this horrible looking yellow, like cowardy yellow. You know what I mean? Like yellow belly yellow. Or in this snot green, you know what I mean? Like bogey green colour. I can't stay there. I need to wear the blue and white. I don't care about these scummers. I don't care about the scum fans. From time the player says that, then you know what? You're alright with me, man. But Nunes, man, the Norwich, soon to be ex-Norwich player. Town fans, we remember he scored that free kick against us in the derby at Carrot Road. Hladky should have done better. That's my opinion. But yeah, he scored that, was the difference maker. They continued to get the bragging rights. He's about to become an Ipswich Town player. Just let that sink in. Norwich City's one of their best players is jumping and pushed at the chance to join Ipswich Town. He's a creative midfielder, something we're crying out for. He's pushed for the move. We've apparently been tracking him for a while. He's pushed to join us. And look, if Norwich fans took the rivalry aside, and I know it's hard to do, right? And we've got an offer here of 7.5 guaranteed, so double what you paid, more or less, if not more than double what you paid, guaranteed up front for a player who's got 12 months left on his contract. Might even rise to another 2.5 to 10 or whatever. I think to do if we get promoted and if he gets international call ups or whatever. So if you do all of that, the maths, it's actually a good deal. But then it comes about, there's some things that are bigger than money. So it's one of those that he looks a good player. He's got a bit of creativity, something we've been dying and crying out for. The fact we've had maybe we've had 3 shots on target all season, like in the league, that's not good enough. So I'm interested to see what he brings. So then I asked some of the lads their thoughts on the signing. Saj said, initially not keen, don't know a great deal about him, seems a little bit of a shithouse to go to your arch rivals, then again could be exactly what we need, some fight and a bit of nastiness. Hope he has a good attitude and hits the ground running, which is desperately what we need. Yeah, man, I rate that comment. I agree with that comment as well. We have looked a bit powder puff in midfield, and if he's a bit of a character, then fair play, as long as he's a team player. Because at the moment, like I said on the match review for Preston, we don't have that team spirit at the moment. So then Jonathan, he says, look, I can look past the budgie issue as long as he can make our midfield work, and I'm happy to have him on board. We need to get better balls to the forwards. We need to start scoring. Hopefully it'll help that happen, but we still need more up top. Again, I agree, man. Like the fact we've only scored 2 goals, and we've had like 3 or 4 shots on target in 270 odd minutes of football. Like, that's disgusting, man. Like, zero creativity at the moment. So look, crying out for it. And then so big up Mark. Obviously, he was like, listen, I'm going to give you a proper analysis, and here we go. Yeah. So he goes, tribally, the transfer doesn't sit right with him, but he understands why it's happening. Because if he can show such a lack of loyalty to that lot, who clearly adored him, just go on Twitter, type his name in. They're talking about building a statue and he's the greatest. I think they were even talking about, one of his goals should have been Pukas nominated or whatever. If he can do that, it'd be a fair assumption that he could do it to us one day. He goes, and here's a good analogy. This is why I love Mark, man. It's a bit like a beautiful girl that left her man to be with you. At some stage, something more shiny comes along and she'll leave you to be with him. And listen, I get that because, he saw Norwich as a stepping stone. Obviously went to the bigger club. But, another club goes in there. What would his attitude be like if that happens? He goes on to say, it's certainly going to be an odd sight to see his name on the back of our shirts, and some fans will find it difficult to bond with him. Again, I get that. I mean, when Lambert come in and all that, it still took us a while to get behind him. And it's one of those things, like, no matter how many baths you have, how many how much shower gel, how much soap, whatever you use, even if you have to use bleach, like, you still can't get the stink of the Norwich off you. So it's going to take a while for him to do that. But then it goes on to add, says, however, Nunes comes in, hits the ground running and plays well. The scum elements quickly forgotten by not just him, but the fans and all the rest of it. But if he plays poorly, then we could have an Andy Marshall type scenario. Because he says, look, if I take my emotions out of it, decent creativity, he can take a free kick, he has good experience at the championship, and he's a good age, he's 25 years old. He then was looking at some stats and he goes, his heat map was very similar to what Sammy's was last season in the Premier League. So it could be a very, very good signing. And like I said, I will back him. Puts on the shirt, I'll back him, right? I always believe in backing the player. Everyone's got a past or whatever, right? Everyone deserves rehabilitation, right? Just he's done the crime, he's done his time, he's now a free man, he's now out, right? But yeah, he's obviously going to join us. He's obviously a very talented player. If he serves a purpose of about getting us promoted, then I'm all for it, man. Let's see. But if he starts like being a little bab and moaning or whatever across the pitch, then fans are gonna get onto him ASAP, man. But listen, welcome to Ipswich Town. Welcome to the pride of Anglia. Leave it all out there on the pitch, and we'll back you. And you know what? If you do watch this video, make sure, yeah, if you score, first of all, if you score in the derby, you're a legend anyway. But if you do score, I want to see some Emmanuel Adebayo style celebration. I want to see him run and just slide and celebrate in front of the Scum fans. What a sight that would be, man. But no, look, like I said, he's a good player. There's links there. He's obviously coming and hopefully hits the ground running. And he's another missing piece of the puzzle. So what else do we need? Obviously, we got that. Apparently, we got this Swedish winger coming in. I can't. Do you know what? I haven't even wrote his name down, so I'm not even going to try and pronounce it if I can't remember. But he's young, talented lad. Again, don't know too much about him. I don't think he's one that would come straight into the team. So we are obviously looking. I don't know if we're still looking for the right winger because obviously we bought McAteer, so I don't know where he will play because I think he was predominantly on the right wing. We desperately need a striker. At the moment, Ali's out as well, so we've only got one fit striker. Yes, Akpom can play there as well, but I'd like to see him in the 10. And then apparently we're bringing in Darnell Furlong from West Brom. That's been agreed. So yeah, man, obviously hope you enjoyed that little review. Hopefully I didn't waffle on too much. Derby fans, if you're watching, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Same for Town fans. Am I feeling over optimistic? What do you think about the Scummer joining? Let me know. I try and respond to every comment. Like I said, I genuinely do enjoy reading those comments and the kind of different opinions from different fans. Speaking of different opinions and different fans, I've launched a new thing, man, and it's called the Centre Circle. And it's basically football's middle ground, finding the middle ground on things. I only did a quick little 5-minute video, which I'll be honest was an extract, or I cut it out of the original match review for Preston. But that, I talked about that whole raising the flag or raise the colours or whatever it is, and just how, you got one side this, one side that, but we can just come together. And, I've got, Town fans that I talk to online, and we have good debates and conversations, and we have different political views, but we hug each other and celebrate Town together. We don't think ill of each other, and just because you got different views doesn't make you the enemy, if you know what I mean. But I've gone on a bit of a preach thing here, if you like, but I'm going to put the details of that video in there. I do want that kind of get bigger and bigger because I think we've gone too tribal. We just need to start having a discussion, and we will do some. It's not always going to be as serious as this thing. The next one we're doing is about VAR as an example. And if you got any ideas that you want to discuss, or if you want to be involved in it and you want to have that debate and opinion, let me know. Let's get involved, man. And let's find that little centre circle, that middle ground and all the rest of it. Let's just get along, man. Be happy, man. Anyway, yeah, please give that a watch. It's only 5 minutes, and I appreciate genuine feedback. Anything you got, please leave it and let me know. I think there's something there. And together, I don't want to sound corny, but together, we can make a difference, man. But yeah, big up all you legends that are still watching and have watched and subscribe. And again, if you haven't subscribed, please do. Trying to get more and more of this content to more and more people. More and more stuff we're doing. So big up the Ko-Fi legends. You can support the channel financially. Link is in the description. So big up all the legends there. As you've seen, we got some new kit and stuff like that. And, we're doing a few different kind of, I want to call it a docu-series type of thing where, we'll film it over a few months or whatever and we'll drop something. But, so yeah, man, I'll catch you all on Saturday. See you later, peeps.